Federal authorities have reopened the case of Ellen Greenberg. If you have not been following the case, you can check out my series, but I will give you a quick recap. However, please, major trigger warning. Ellen Greenberg died in 2011, January specifically. Now, what's interesting about this particular case is that her fiance calls 911 and says that he found her and that she had stabbed herself. Well, the police arrive and unfortunately she's unresponsive. She had died. The medical examiner deems her death a homicide. Why? Because she had over 20 stab wounds in the back of her head, her neck, her back. Clearly makes sense, right? Homicide. However, for whatever reason, a day later, it was deemed a suicide. Now, when they started investigating, apparently it was deemed a suicide because police called and said, no, this is a suicide. You need to change it back to that. And the medical examiner said, okay, that's right. Now, what's interesting and makes it even crazier is the fact that they had initially, within 24 hours said it was a suicide. So her fiance's uncle shows up and says, I need to get into the apartment. There's things I need to grab. And the guy, handles the maintenance of the apartments says, well, we can't go in there. It's a crime scene. And he calls police to say, hey, I have the uncle here. Well, what am I supposed to do? And the police are like, oh, no. That's fine. Let him in. This is deemed a suicide. We're done. We're not doing an additional investigation. You can go ahead and hire a cleaning company. The uncle went in there and took everything you can think of, anything digital, laptops, cell phones. They even apparently took her purse, journal, all of that. And of course, the janitor, the super, called the cleaning company and they came and cleaned everything. So later on, when they started investigating this, because the family was baffled after they found out how she died, initially they really believed, did she take her life? Did she not? The investigators arrive and everything is wiped clean. There is no evidence. So I appreciate that federal authorities have reopened the case because for all these years, her parents have been fighting for somebody to care enough about this case. They even did a digital reenactment in court one day where they showed that the fact is one of the stab wounds was post-mortem. Additionally, they went stab wound by stab wound, pretty much stating, look, if she would have stabbed herself here, at this point, her spine, everything, she would have been numb. She would have been done. How she continued stabbing herself. And now that federal authorities are investigating, the news has been tracking her fiance. Her fiance, Sam Goldberger, her ex-fiance, who is now married.